Is 500 XRP enough for generational wealth? Can someone realistically retire one day just by holding 500 XRP? This is one of the most common questions I get, and honestly, it's not coming from greed, it's coming from pressure. The economic reality for most people has changed dramatically. What used to feel achievable a few years ago now feels almost impossible. There was a time when $500 could get you 1,000 XRP. Today, just owning 500 XRP already requires close to $1,000. That matters because wages have not kept up and people feel it every single day. Unemployment has quietly climbed to a 4-year high in the United States. And this isn't just an American issue. Europe is dealing with stagnation, Asia is slowing, credit card delinquencies are rising, and household liquidity is getting tighter everywhere. When people are living paycheck to paycheck, when inflation eats away at purchasing power, and when stress levels are high, it becomes incredibly difficult to even think about long-term investing. Survival mode takes over. That's real, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. So if you're sitting there holding 500 XRP and wondering whether it even matters, I understand where that question is coming from. But here's the uncomfortable truth that most people never hear. The problem is not the number 500. The problem is how people frame XRP in their minds. Most of the community is obsessed with short-term outcomes. Everyone wants to know where XRP will be by the end of the year, what price it hits by December 31st, whether it's going to explode tomorrow. And I truly believe that mindset is the fastest way to sabotage your own long-term outcome. When someone needs XRP to be $500 next week or $1,000 next month, they are already setting themselves up to sell far too early. That's how people miss generational wealth. Not because they didn't have enough units, but because they exited before the system actually changed. XRP is not designed to reward impatience. It's not built for quick dopamine hits or short-term speculation. It's built around infrastructure. And infrastructure does not get repriced overnight. The people who end up selling at $50 or $100 are usually convinced they've made it, but what they've really done is exit before XRP reaches the phase where its role fundamentally changes. And that phase matters more than price alone. The real potential of XRP does not show up when retail traders are excited. It shows up when regulation is fully settled, when institutions are not just experimenting but actively using XRP, and when liquidity provision becomes the core use case. That's the moment when XRP holders stop thinking like traders and start functioning more like liquidity providers. That's when banks and financial institutions may not need you to sell your XRP at all. They may need access to it. At that point, the game is no longer about flipping price. It's about participation in a system. This is why the question, is 500 XRP enough, cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. Because the answer depends far less on the number and far more on